Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a seriously fascinating journey. We are completely moving away from that flat, rigid way of learning a language and stepping into a vibrant, multidimensional approach to real communication. Think of it like a beautiful watercolor painting. We're going to layer ideas together to build a much deeper, more colorful understanding of how we actually learn and use language. Whether you're a modern educator or a dedicated learner yourself, get ready to completely rethink the entire classroom experience.
It's a question that honestly haunts almost every language classroom, right? Why do so many students know literally every single grammar rule, pass all their written tests with flying colors, but the second they're thrust into a real, native-speed conversation, they completely freeze up? Well, that's actually what we call the affective filter spiking. It's this universal frustration shared by teachers and students alike, and it tells us something is fundamentally missing in how we bridge the gap between classroom theory and real-world execution.
Let's dive right into this by contrasting two very different educational worlds. On one side, you've got the outdated, traditional rote memorization method. It's kind of like looking at a flat paper cutout. You're merely studying the language, memorizing endless vocabulary lists and conjugating verbs in total isolation. But on the other side, we have this dynamic 3D approach, communicative language teaching. And here, the ultimate goal isn't just knowing about the language, it's actually using it in authentic, real-world contexts.
So what is the actual fix here? It's Communicative Language Teaching, or CLT, and it shifts the focus entirely. It prioritizes meaningful communication way above strict grammatical structure. Instead of just studying rules in a vacuum, students accomplish real tasks by actually using the language. It recognizes that language and communication are totally interdependent. It's all about getting your message across, interpreting what others are saying, and negotiating meaning, rather than just obsessing over absolute grammatical perfection. Now, to pull this off, we have to completely stop isolating the four basic language skills. For decades, traditional textbooks taught listening, reading, speaking, and writing as totally separate, disconnected chapters. But if we want true communicative competence, we have to start blending them together, flowing into one another, just like fluid watercolors. Because in the real world, these skills rarely happen in isolation. They occur together, constantly overlapping and supporting each other.
When you break it down, we've got an elegant matrix acting as our language engine. Notice how the skills are divided. Vertically, we have the oral and written modes. Horizontally, they're split into receptive skills, taking information in through listening and reading, and productive skills, putting information out through speaking and writing. Understanding this beautifully simple structure is the absolute first step to unlocking how these skills interact and fuel one another in the human brain.
Think of this as an interconnected loop, a true fluency engine. Your receptive input continuously fuels your productive output. I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? You cannot have high-quality output without a massive amount of rich, high-quality input. Active listening and deep reading provide the essential vocabulary, the syntax, and the contextual cues that directly power a learner's ability to speak and write effectively.
And the research behind this is absolutely fascinating. These skills are incredibly interdependent. Active reading literally shapes your writing style. If you read a ton of sci-fi, your writing is naturally going to adopt that tone. Similarly, a win in listening comprehension acts as a direct, instant upgrade to your spoken communication, building immense speaking confidence. Frequent practice across all four skills creates this natural, unforced fluency that rote memorization simply can never, ever achieve.
And this whole interconnected engine? It pushes us right into the cognitive realm. The brilliant psychologist Lev Vygotsky hit the nail on the head when he said, language is a primary tool for thought. This tells us that language and critical thinking are completely inseparable. You aren't just learning a new way to say hello or where is the nearest train station. You are actually developing the cognitive architecture to analyze, evaluate, and solve complex problems.
Mastering a language actually gives your brain's executive functions a massive workout. There are 4 key cognitive steps at play here. Learners have to dissect information through analysis, they have to evaluate context, use inference to guess meanings, which, let's be honest, is a vital survival skill in a new language, and finally use explanation to articulate their reasoning. Every meaningful interaction is literally building new neural pathways. It's a massive critical thinking workout.
So this is the ultimate paradigm shift we're talking about. We're moving away from passive, monochrome rule translation, where a student just acts like a human dictionary, awkwardly swapping out words, to vibrant, active critical thinking. In this new paradigm, students are evaluating arguments, anticipating counterpoints, and seamlessly adapting their language to persuade and interact. They are genuinely thinking in the language, not just translating into it.
Okay, so how would we actually do this? To make this beautiful shift a reality, modern educators need to step up and utilize practical, layered classroom strategies that truly challenge their students. We're talking about inquiry-based learning, rich problem-solving activities, fiery discussions, and immersive role-playing. These aren't just fun little games to pass the time. They are the core engines of the communicative language teaching approach. Imagine organizing a classroom debate on a really complex social issue, like climate change or the impact of social media. This is inquiry-based learning in action. It forces students totally out of their comfort zones. They have to critically evaluate sources, construct coherent arguments, and passionately articulate their ideas, all in the target language. It completely bridges the gap between learning a language and actually communicating with it.
Then, there's collaborative learning at its absolute finest, the jigsaw reading technique. Instead of having everyone read the same boring passage in total silence, you divide a complex text into separate parts. Small groups analyze their specific piece, then regroup with members of other groups to share their findings and synthesize the complete picture. It's like a giant puzzle. It requires students to piece together information and constantly negotiate meaning with their peers, integrating reading, listening, and speaking, all at exactly the same time.
Another incredibly powerful tool, real-world role-play scenarios, dropping students into practical simulations, like navigating a super stressful job interview or trying to order from a busy restaurant without accidentally asking for a shoe instead of fish, builds such vital resilience. They have to articulate their positions clearly and respond spontaneously. By the time they actually face these daily life interactions outside the classroom, they have the real-world confidence and mental flexibility to thrive.
But to fuel all these awesome activities, we absolutely must rely on authentic materials. By replacing dry, artificial textbook drills with real news articles, actual podcasts, and genuine social media posts, we expose learners to the language exactly as it lives, breathes, and evolves in the real world. Authentic materials provide a rich, complex source of input that challenges students to interpret tone, cultural context, and natural pacing, making the whole learning experience deeply relevant.
Now, building a dynamic, communicative classroom is an ongoing journey of discovery. And if you want to keep layering these vibrant teaching techniques into your repertoire and truly empower your language learners, you absolutely must subscribe and follow all accounts for the Robo for Education YT channel. It is quite literally the best way to make sure you never miss out on these powerful educational insights.
We've covered the entire matrix of language skills, the undeniable power of critical thinking, and the exact strategies that make real, authentic communication possible. So I'm going to leave you with this final lingering thought. Are your students just studying a language, or are they truly living it? It's time to ditch the rigid rote memorization. Transform your classroom today. Start blending those skills together, and watch your learners truly come alive.